In the 7th episode we were shown Viola running around the kitchen making chocolate chip cookies. When Alyssa looked at them, she wasn't happy because they looked like a pile of crap, but she didn't know if she should scold Viola for messing around with food. Alyssa asked what they were made of and Viola explained that they were curled up eels. Viola said the cookies didn't turn out very pretty, so she was embarrassed to show them, but Alyssa said they were perfect and it was immediately clear that these cookies were in the shape of eels. Alyssa then started calling herself a stupid fool and couldn't understand how she could think they were eel-shaped cookies. Viola had put a lot of labor into these cookies. When Alyssa looked at the cookies she pictured eels, but there wasn't enough dough for the last one, so it's just lying there. Alyssa hid under the table because she was ashamed of her thoughts. Viola thought that Alyssa was sick, but she said she shouldn't worry because the problem was in her head. Viola thought that a cookie would cheer Alyssa up and she realized the reason for her thoughts. Alyssa was scared because the cookies are brown. If they were multicolored they would be fine. Alyssa offered to make cookies with different flavors and promised to help. When they took the different colored cookies out of the oven, Alyssa started laughing. Viola was happy that Alyssa was having so much fun, but Alyssa was embarrassed that she was 223 years old and laughing at colorful cookies that looked like shit. Alyssa tried to pull herself together and began to convince herself that they were just curled up blackheads. Viola realized that they had made too many cookies and she got the idea to treat friends and acquaintances. Alyssa said they didn't need to put them in a clear bag and Viola thought there was something wrong with her cookies. And she also added that Alyssa was acting weird and couldn't tell her straight what was wrong. Alyssa reassured Viola that everything was fine. She's the bad mom. She is so spoiled that she sees the world in a distorted way and she should be ashamed of herself. Alyssa apologized for upsetting Viola and said that the cookies were delicious. Viola was happy that Alyssa liked the cookies and decided to eat one, but Alyssa reacted badly to that. Viola thought her mom had choked and ran to get water. Then Phoenix peeked in the window and said he came smelling a sweet scent. Phoenix scolded Alyssa for messing around with the food and she started making excuses. Then they all helped themselves to cookies together. Eels are the spirits of the genie. They are good-natured creatures. They have many colors and patterns. The golden gin eel is believed to bring good luck. In the evening Viola was reading a story and Alyssa said it was time for her to go to bed. Viola was cranky and didn't want to sleep, then Alyssa started to scare her with a sandman who comes to children who are awake at night and looks children in the eyes. Viola said she wasn't afraid of the Sandman because it was just a fiction to get the children to go to bed on time. The Sandman told her that himself. The Sandman is a fairy who walks around with magic sand in a bag. According to legend, he puts the sand in people's eyes to make them fall asleep. Alyssa couldn't believe it was him and the Sandman offered to pluck out her eyes to make her believe in him. He then said it was a joke and left his autograph. Alyssa asked what brought him to them and he explained that he was having trouble sleeping. Because of his constant insomnia, he dozed off on a flight and flew into their house, breaking a window. Viola decided to help him and started reading him a story. Alyssa suggested using the sand he uses to put people to sleep, but he said that if he used it once, he wouldn't be able to stop, because sand is addictive. The Sandman said that he is strict about the dosage and only uses it when indicated. He can put people to sleep by pouring sand on their eyelids. The Sandman suggested that his insomnia was stress-related, and Viola decided to relieve him of his stress. The Sandman was grateful that Viola wanted to help him, but he explained that the older people get, the harder it is for them to deal with stress, and he assured Viola that one day she too would face a problem that could not be solved by any force. Viola wanted to solve each of his problems in turn and asked him what was causing him the most stress. He explained that his wife had left him yesterday and that was his biggest problem for the day. Also, his bladder is bothering him and severe joint pain is keeping him down. Alyssa asked if he had seen a doctor and the answer was no. Viola was sure that she would help him with magic and Phoenix used eternity breath magic. Alyssa told Viola that it was wrong to call Phoenix for anything, and Viola explained that he was perfect for the task because Phoenix had once put Viola to sleep in less than a second. Alyssa said it wasn't nice to call on Phoenix in the middle of the night because he was family. You still have to think about when to call on him, because he might have his own plans. For example, this weekend he wanted to sunbathe near a volcano. Viola realized that she had been wrong and that privacy was important, too. Alyssa suggested that the Sandman wait until Phoenix came home in the morning, but he didn't want to wait for anyone because he was afraid of Phoenix. Viola suggested replacing the magic with soothing songs, but listening to them for longer than 5 minutes might start the leads. Alyssa suggested hot milk, it soothes the body. Sandman freaked out and asked if it would actually help. He apologized for his violent reaction and revealed that one of his coworkers pours milk in people's eyes. His name is Colia. He wears a colorful outfit and carries around different umbrellas. According to legend, he pours milk into people's eyes to make them fall asleep faster. The Sandman thought he was a jerk in a colorful outfit who constantly spills milk on the floor and wipes it up with a rag. Viola admitted that she would choose pouring milk in his eyes over pouring sand, and the Sandman didn't like that customer feedback. Viola offered to sing him a lullaby, since her mom always sang it for her. The Sandman dared to try this method and the girls put him to bed. Alyssa didn't like that he was staring at her and offered to close her eyes. He confessed that Alyssa was so kind and caring that he couldn't even close his eyes. Alyssa thought they were being too pushy and suggested that they not force him to sleep, but he jumped out of bed and asked that they not allow thoughts of not sleeping, because lack of sleep leads to a lot of health problems, like depression or hormonal imbalances. He insisted that lack of sleep can lead to death, so everyone needs to sleep. Sandman apologized for causing a lot of trouble and promised to pay for the broken window the next day. The girls started to stop him and persuaded him to stay, but they were not successful in keeping him away. The next day the girls took the Sandman to the doctor and he prescribed treatment. The Sandman thanked them for their help and the girls urged him to put away his pride and not be afraid to ask for help. Before he left the magic sand as a gift. He warned the girls that this sand was worth a lot of money, so he advised them to sell it and use the proceeds to pamper themselves. At home, Alyssa called her friend and told her about the magic sand. The friend was furious and said that it could be sold for $1 million. The friend wanted to buy this sand herself and said that it could be stolen, so Alyssa should close all the windows and doors. While waiting for her friend, Alyssa couldn't sleep for days because she was watching the sand.